Hello and welcome to the Peter MacKay Motorsport Podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in to this episode. Now today is a little bit of parish notices. There's been lots going on in the Peter MacKay Motorsport world in the last couple of weeks. So today's episode is a little bit of an update about all of our goings on and all of the exciting projects that we now have ahead of us. Last week I had an incredible week. I had two of my commentary heroes on the show. On Tuesday last week I had Colin Clark, the voice of rally. Colin, a fellow Scot, actually, is from Dundee, about 20 miles up the road from where I live in Perth. But Colin came into the World Rally Championship actually working for British American Tobacco as a marketing executive, and basically fell in love with the sport and ended up working as a host and a stage end reporter for the much missed Rally Radio. Colin now works for the new ambitious dirtfish.com media outlet and having an absolute ball there. Colin's one who's not short of opinions on rallying, and he's most famous for exhibiting these opinions on his very famous Thoughts from the Kitchen Table YouTube vlog, which is well worth a watch. It's really, really interesting and often quite amusing as well. So it was so appreciated that Colin took the time to come on to the programme and have a chat and talk about all things rallying, but also his career as well. So if you haven't heard that chat with Colin, give it a listen. It's well worth it. And then on Thursday, Thursday was very special indeed. On Thursday we had Nick Harris on the show. Now, for those that don't know Nick Harris was the voice of MotoGP, Motorcycle Grand Prix, for a very long time, about 20 years. He was the worldwide feed, the English voice of MotoGP. And Nick had been in the motorcycle racing sport, still is, for nearly 40 years. And really, Nick Harris's voice is just absolutely synonymous with all the greatest moments of the last 2 decades in the sport. And at the end of 2017, he retired and stopped with the MotoGP paddock, and he is greatly missed. And it was just fascinating to spend over an hour chatting to him, talking about all of his career. He's got some incredible stories from being on the road for such a long time, and also some great stories of some of the biggest stars in the sport. I had to just pinch myself as I was listening to Nick very eloquently answering my many questions that I had for him. So do tune into that. Nick, he's a fascinating man, and I really, really appreciate him taking the time to come onto the show. We've also been busy in the last couple of weeks working with the Porsche Club of Great Britain, as they have been starting up their fledgling sim racing division. Of course, at the moment, with the world mostly on lockdown and real world motorsport still a little while away from getting going, many professional and amateur racers alike have taken to programs like iRacing and so on to race online all across the world. And of course, the technology nowadays of not only the simulation software, but the equipment, the pedals, the wheels, all that kind of stuff is now so realistic that you can really get the sensations of driving a racing car in your very own home. And of course, particularly car racing and motor racing is very unique in that aspect. Even in something like motorcycle racing, you can't replicate that in your own home, and you can't kick a football virtually. But actually, motor racing is in the unique position where you have that real world, you have that such close link to the real world. So that's opened up a lot of opportunities for me. If you're a regular listener to the podcast, you'll know that I'm on a bit of a journey to make it as a motor racing commentator. That is my ambition. And a big part of that is at the moment, with no real world motor racing on the go, been doing quite a bit of commentary in the virtual world, and had a great time working with the guys at the Porsche Club of Great Britain as they start up their sim racing division. So we've had a couple of races so far, which you can see both the clips I've added on my website, PeterMacKayMotorsport.com, so you can go on there and have a little look. On Saturday of this week, though, the 9th of May, at 9 a.m. GMT, we are taking on quite a challenge. So a group of real-world racers from the Real World Porsche Club of Great Britain Club Championship are getting together to do a 12-hour race on Saturday. So the 12 Hours of Snetterton will be racing at the virtual Snetterton in Norfolk on the iRacing programme. Now, unlike most 12-hour races where the drivers would take turns with maybe a relay of 2, possibly 3 drivers, and likewise the commentator would normally circulate on shifts of 3 or 4 hours or so. That will not be the case. The idea behind this charity race is to raise money for the NHS, the National Health Service here in the United Kingdom, who of course are doing a heroic job looking after us all during this terrible pandemic. And of course 12 hours is certainly, even in normal circumstances, 12 hours is often par for the course for many NHS staff. So we all got together and thought, what can we do, our little part? So the drivers will be driving for 12 hours straight, perhaps with the opportunity of a pit stop. I've calculated that I think the pit stops are going to take about a minute and a half. So hopefully that will give the drivers enough time to hop out of their seat and use the loo in the middle of the race should they need to. And also the commentary will be provided by myself for all 12 hours straight. So that's my challenge, is to stand and talk rubbish about racing for 12 hours. Most people would say that's easy for me, but I will try. I'm going to try my best. So this week has been spent researching all about Snetterton, about iRacing, about lots of different things to help to enrich the content. So we would love to see you. Tuning in to the race, the 12 Hours of Snetterton on Saturday. The ways that you can watch it, you can go on to something called twitch.tv. So twitch.tv. Twitch.tv is effectively a gaming streaming. It's a bit like the YouTube of gaming, I suppose, in a simple way. And if you go onto my channel, if you just search Peter MacKay Motorsport on twitch.tv, and it'll come straight up. And from 9 a.m. GMT to 9 p.m. GMT, the race will be live, both in sound and vision. So you'll have my dulcet tones calling the race action. On the hour, we'll be doing also an Instagram Live update, where I'll go on to Instagram Live and you can ask questions about the race, ask questions to me, or whatever you want to do. Would love to hear from you. In fact, please do get in touch, because it will give me opportunity to fill some of those 12 hours as well. So you can tune into that on Instagram, and my account is at Peter MacKay Motorsport. So you can do that. And finally, if you want to listen just in radio form, you can do via our live radio cast, which will be available on the Podbean app, which you can download for your Apple device or your Android device. Whatever smartphone you have, you can get the Podbean app. And you just search the Peter MacKay Motorsport Podcast, and the live cast will be on throughout the entirety of the race. Most importantly, though, we would be delighted if you would even give just the smallest amount to the cause. There will be a Just Giving page, which I will share in the description of this episode, so you can follow that link directly. Toby Barlow, one of the regulars in the Porsche Club Great Britain's real world racing paddock, has very kindly organised the event, and already we're over £1,300 before the race has even begun. So if you're able to spare even just a couple of pounds to keep us all going through the race, it would be so appreciated. And of course, all proceeds will go straight to the National Health Service. I don't know if we'll be raising £33 million like Captain Moore did, but we will do our best to raise what we can. So a little fact, just a few facts about the race and what we're doing. we'll be taking part in the race on the iRacing Simulator program, which is one of the leading, if not the leading, program. You know, it hosts all the official virtual series for NASCAR, Porsche Super Cup, IndyCar and V8 Supercars, and many others as well. It's based in the iRacing company is based in Massachusetts on the east coast of the United States, and it actually went live all the way back in 2008. So it's been around with us for much longer than you'd imagine. By 2012, the program had attracted 35,000 subscribers. Today in 2020, just in the road racing part of the software, they have 113,000 active members who are taking part in racing. There'll be other people with a subscription who are not taking part in racing as well. And of course, along with the road racing, you have the dirt ovals, you have dirt road racing, and you have road ovals. So there's a huge amount of people taking part in iRacing every single day. And it's not uncommon to see 15,000 people online actively racing at any one point. You also see, prevalent racers using iRacing on a regular basis. Lando Norris, McLaren Formula 1 driver, Max Verstappen, a Red Bull Formula 1 driver, and Charles Leclerc, the Ferrari Formula 1 driver. They are all very big advocates of the iRacing technology. So it's incredibly realistic. All of the cars and tracks are laser scanned for absolute pinpoint accuracy, and the sensations of each car and track replicate the real thing very, very closely. So we'll be racing at Snetterton around the Snetterton 300 circuit, 3 miles in length, designed by the circuit owner, Jonathan Palmer. The Snetterton circuit was originally an RAF airfield actually, and was home to the 96th United States Air Force Bomber Group, who were there from 1943 to 1948. But in 1951, the airfield was converted into a racing circuit by two local enthusiasts, Oliver Sear and Dudley Corman. And this was their first race that was held was in 1951 by the Aston Martin Owners Club. So the Snetterton circuit is absolutely rich in history. It was host to the very famous Van Diemen racing car manufacturing firm. It was where, which of course was where Ayrton Senna came to race cars for the very first time. So Snetterton full of history, and of course just down the road from the famous Lotus factory as well. Finally, the car that will be in use for the race will be the wonderful little Porsche Cayman 718 GT4 Club Sport, a 3.8 litre, 425 horsepower little monster. It's a little diminutive little car, but with lots of power. It's got anti-lock brakes, traction control, electronic stability control as well. So there'll be no excuses for our drivers. Now, the one thing that makes the Cayman quite unique to the other cars on iRacing, it has an unusually large fuel tank, so it will actually be possible for our drivers to run for nearly 100 minutes on a tank of fuel. So it'll be interesting to watch how the strategy plays out throughout the race. And of course, like any endurance race, it will be all about staying out of the pits, staying out of the barriers, keeping the car on the track and keep turning laps. That's what endurance racing is all about. So we'd really love to see you tune in to the 12 Hours of Snetterton on Saturday the 9th of May. Be delighted to have your company, and I hope you enjoy the race if you'll be tuning in. Thanks very much for tuning in to this episode, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.